What's up, Internet? You're tuned into the most special episode of the Nintendo Noise Podcast in Lord knows how long. I am your host, Peter Messi, joined today by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Max Wright. We just watched Nintendo's hour-long Nintendo Switch 2 reveal event, and I am so ready to talk about it with you, my guy.
Bing, bing, woohoo, motherfuckers.
Yo, let's go, man.
That was an hour.
I feel like we have been waiting for this episode for like 3 years or something. I don't even know how long it's been.
Remember when I formally banned talking about the Switch 2 years ago? Here we are. Ban lifted.
Ban lifted.
Let's
That's why we had to have you
fucking-
on for this one, of course.
Absolutely. That's the only reason why you have me on.
Yeah, the only one. Well, I figured there might be some Metroid conversations, so we're gonna get you off the
Maybe.
bench for that, of course. Oh my God, Max, I'm buzzing still a little bit, you know? And
I'm jazzed.
we had a whole technical issue. We were gonna watch it live, and for whatever reason, YouTube wouldn't let us go live. But we watched it together. We both took a ton of notes. I have fucking 10 pages of notes.
You put your notes down on paper?
Yeah,
Fucking hell,
I
man.
was
We need
like-
to get you a phone, man. That's ridiculous.
I didn't want to be looking at my
my
phone. I want to
notes
look
on
at
my-
the screen. I can look at the screen and go at the same time. That's journalism school will teach you how to do that. So anyway, I'm excited. I have so much to. Let's just go. Let's just get into it.
Let's just go.
Let's just go, man.
Are we going with just the headlines? We're going Switch 2 launch date.
Yeah, you want to go that way?
Let's just do Switch 2 launch date. Let's just open up
Okay.
Switch 2, 5th of April. No, it's not.
June.
5th of June, 2025. And it seems like it's going to cost us £395, and you have the dollars, right?
$450 for
$450.
US, and it'll be $500 if you want to get the bundle that they announced that'll have the digital version of Mario Kart as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for us
So-
it's 435, which makes it 430, which makes it £35 for the digital version of Mario Kart, which seems really cheap for me.
Yeah, that is cheap for you guys. I mean,
We'll have to
honestly,
follow up.
it's cheap for us too, though. It's $50 for that, and my guess is that Nintendo Switch 2 games will be priced at $70, just like Tears of the Kingdom and everything else.
That was the Purdue prediction, right, last year.
Yeah,
Speaking of predictions, didn't we predict the prices at some point for what the Switch 2 would be?
yeah, we all got them wrong.
We'll have.
we all got them wrong.
Yeah, I probably said 350. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
we were all very off. Like I had it at 3. You and Steve had it at 350. He said 351. You said 350. Chewy said 400. So he actually is the closest. And then we were all wrong on. We all thought it would be in the fall. He thought it would be in the summer. It was earlier than we thought. I will say though, Chewy and I did some direct predictions the week that they announced the direct, and we both did okay.
Okay.
He had 3, I had 4. We both made, I think it was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 10. I got 4 out of 10. Not too bad.
better than nothing.
I predicted that there would be a Pro Controller 2. I was right about that. The new DK game, I was right about that. I said that we would have like a PC game showing off the mouse functionality. We got Civ. I think I actually said like Civ.
Yeah.
And then I said a smart delivery equivalent would be revealed that shows how games like Metroid Prime and Pokemon ZA that are Switch releases would run better on Switch 2. That ended up being true. And Chewy had 3 as well, that Mario Kart will have an open world element a la Diddy Kong Racing. Elden Ring would get a port, and that GameCube games would come for NSO.
Good guesses.
Yeah,
Good
all
guesses.
solid.
All right, let's go in alphabetical order. Wait, sorry, hang on. Can I just quickly? I'm just gonna blow my nose because if I don't, I'm gonna spend the whole thing.
You go ahead.
so
You go
sorry.
ahead. While you do
So
that,
sorry.
I'll tell this that the other bit of that we know about like pricing and everything before we get into all the announcements is that pre-orders will be available at least in North America from all participating retailers starting on April 9th. So if you are in the States, that would probably mean GameStop, Target, Amazon, Walmart, and Best Buy are usually the major retailers that will get pre-orders. So if you are like us and waiting to get your pre-order day one, then yeah, you're gonna want to set your calendars for April 9th there, because that'll be when you'll be able to get those pre-orders live as well. So
You just kept on going, didn't you? You did not take a break.
No. I figured you're going to blow your nose. I'll run them through the pre-order information. Now we can get to
Cool.
the
All right.
good stuff.
Schnoz officially blozed it's time to talk about games.
So yeah, I guess do we want to just run through run of show? That's kind of what I'm
Go
thinking.
through run of show because
All
that's
right.
all I've got in here, and I'm not.
Yeah,
wading
otherwise we're
through
like
it.
jumping around through our notes and everything. I think this will be the
and
easiest way to go
you're
through
gonna
it.
be like going through the tome you've written.
Exactly. Yeah. So okay, so we'll start with Mario Kart then, because that's where they kick things off. Mario Kart is called Worldwide, right? Is the
Just Mario Kart World.
Mario Kart World? Okay, and we got a bunch of new information, right?
Loads.
Like the tracks will change with both the weather and the time of day. There are these like in between kind of courses where you'll be like, there's a mode where after every cup you'll then drive to the next race and you'll be in this like open world, like, you know, exploratory kind of
Like a
area.
big convoy kind of thing. Yeah, I like all that stuff. It looks like there's a heavier focus on transformations as well in this one. Like, you go over water, you can become a boat. You go in the air, you become a plane, snowmobile. Sort of like how you used to your wheels would transform in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
Right.
and you'd ride up on the walls and stuff. I think they had similar transformations.
Seems like an
in-
escalation of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Mario Kart 7 had like some similar stuff in it, but this seems to be like you there's loads of different transformations. It seems like the worlds are going to be really different. The track's going to be really interesting. There's like grinding,
Those
wall
grinding,
jumping.
yeah, that was really cool. Oh, and
At
like
one point,
wall
a
riding
character-
and stuff.
Yeah, like almost like Mario style wall jumping, where you jump from wall to wall, which is cool to keep your momentum. Probably there seems to be like you drive in the back of a truck and you almost like dock into the truck,
And then you
drive
are
the truck.
driving the 18-wheeler.
Yeah, but it seems like people might also be able to then drive over that like a ramp as well. I think I saw. I don't know if I've made that bit up, but this all looks fantastic. It looks varied. It looks the fact that it's got night and day mechanics and things might be slightly different in there as well. The fact that the course isn't just the course. You know, you must have been. I don't know about you, but when I'm driving around a Mario Kart track, sometimes I look and I'm like, that all looks amazing. You know, Moo Moo Meadows. I'd like to go over there. To be able to do that. In like a Forza Horizon style, like you're just driving around and then, now I've reached this track, maybe I can start a race kind of thing.
That's another thing too, is there is a mode that's just like Forza Horizon, like just driving around, and you can just like, you can go in multiplayer and like take photos in photo mode and like just kind of explore, which seems really interesting. And then there's like an eliminations mode too, where it's like you're playing and like if you're not in the top 8, you keep getting dropped out and stuff like that. There's like you drive like across the entire world map.
Yeah,
mode.
that looks cool. It looks like the Grand Prix are more like, it's not just course. It's like you are following this course on the map. The Mario, I love that map as like the classic Mario style map of like you're going from here to here. You plot the course that's the Grand Prix. Maybe you can customize that. Maybe you can say here to here, and maybe it seems like between each map, because it does say like, it's continuous. So it seems like you do a race, and then all of you as a convoy drive to the next race point, which just seems fun. It just seems like a cool. Just seems really fun. It just seems cool. It just seems like a continuous, like, just an evolution of Mario Kart. And considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is over 10 years old at this point, it's 11 years old now. It just seems like they needed to take it to the next level. And I think this is it, you know?
Yeah, I think we had a conversation on this show not that long ago about like, what do you do with Mario? Like, where do you go from 8, right? When it's like this like very penultimate title.
Yeah.
And it's like, this seems like a good evolution, right? Like it's got a good gimmick. The world gimmick is smart. And I think, you know, having all these other like smaller things that are like, it's just all these like little systems that make things quite a bit more varied. Like they showed some new power-ups that I thought were interesting. There's like a power-up where like your character like changes their outfit, which is interesting. They showed some new characters, like the Moo Moo Meadows, like the cows from that is a driver now, and it just seems like there's a lot here to offer, both like meaningful and like just small, cute, fun things. And this looks
nice.
really
It
sick.
looks like a nice game. Like the visuals are really not impressive.
Yeah.
It looks like it runs at a high frame rate. Apart from when they do the screen sharing thing, which we'll talk about later, and it just looks shocking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the character models look nice. The lighting looks nice. There's nice variety. There's like the characters like pick up things, like you pick up like an item and you turn into like a different costumed version of it. I'm just looking at the training now. I didn't realize that the cows from Moo Moo Meadows are actually drivable.
That's what I just
like,
said.
playable. Sorry, I was. I
This guy's watching the trailer, not even listening.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was listening. I was. The fucking there's like costumes. There's all sorts of things going on. It's very, very, very good. Very fun looking. Love the idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was really pleased with everything that we saw here. And it's not like I was like concerned that the next Mario Kart wouldn't be good. It was more just
absolutely.
like, I don't know, like I feel like it was hard for me to almost get excited about it because it was so like what is that even going to look like?
Yeah, we've played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for 10 years. Like, if you're just going to do another Mario Kart, like, it has to do something that makes it worthy of not just sort of usurping that game, 40 million copies, however many it sold. Also, just worthy of being a launch title for the Switch too. And
yeah, right.
it clearly is.
So on that
also
note, they did confirm it would be a launch game, and then we also got confirmation that they're going to do a Mario Kart Focus Direct on April 17th. So that'll be a nice midpoint between now and actual release, right?
Yeah, what's that, 2 weeks from now? 2 weeks and a day?
Yeah.
And then we're in April now, aren't we? Yeah. And then we just got to get through May, you know?
Yeah, right.
May,
and like,
and then
thankfully, I would imagine these next couple of weeks will not be like super dry either, because it's like, you know, we have like this Direct to look forward to. We have like people are going to be going and doing the hands-on with the console soon. The Treehouse the next 2 days. I
don't know about you, but I'm jazzed about seeing some raw footage in these Treehouse more. If they actually start showing off, like, hey, here's Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
The enhanced version of that, it's going to be 4K, it's going to be 60 FPS or whatever, and they actually show people that working on the, you know, because now all we have is that trailer and there's no confirmation of anything. They just said high resolution, high frame rate. To be able to see that being played, them talking about it. How long are these events? Do you know?
I don't actually know if they've said how long.
The old E3 ones used to be like 4 hours.
They were long,
like that, and you would get like your new announcements, which that will get, but you'd get announcements, you get all sorts of things.
My guess would be that it is probably at least 2 hours, based on just like how long Treehouses usually are. But I don't know that they've actually said how long that they'll be. They're both going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, they're going to be 60 minutes. So I would imagine we probably get 60 minutes of dedicated gameplay on either two separate games, or maybe one of them is like looking at a specific title, and then to your point, one of them is maybe more like exploring like features and stuff like that, and like showing off stuff like enhancements. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I didn't. Oh, I've been talking this whole time. Well, I sneezed and I tried to catch it. I think the first sneeze got caught. Apologies for that. Yeah, it used to be in block, didn't it? It was like, we're going to show this and then we'll swap over and show this. But that's when they had a whole day. But if they're just doing an hour, maybe they will just focus on 2 games per thing. But whatever it is, we're going to have all that news coming out. There's a lot to be excited for. You know?
I'm very excited to see what they want to show tomorrow. Either way, I think is like after this, like there's so many things it could be, and I'm interested in all of them. Like I hope we get an hour with any of the new games that they showed off. Cause
absolutely, yeah.
There's several there that I would love to see some more information about.
I feel like I've just been punched in the gut because I've just seen the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller price. It's £74.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
Oof, yeah, that's a little pricey. But I mean, I guess that's what controllers cost now, right?
Yeah, that's like, true. Yeah.
It sucks,
like
but
DualSense is what, 65?
I think that's right.
For us?
Yeah, I think that. Well, I think it's 70 here. So all right, so let's get into some of the features, right? Because I while you're talking about the Pro Controller, right, we had kind of a breakdown of like a bunch of the new stuff that, like some of the new functionality of Nintendo Switch 2, and they kick things off by like finally confirming what the C button does, right? So one of the two rumors about it ended up being true, that it is like a C for like a chat button, right? A community button. And they showed off this new feature that's called Game Chat, and it is very much like a Nintendo take on Discord, more or less, where like you are able to be in a like chat with all of your friends, and it's literally like the standard like Discord, like they pop in, there's a little square, and it's like an icon, you know, with their name
talking, and it's like
highlights whomever's talking, right? Like that sort of thing.
Party chat in other consoles, but it sort of has more of a Discord-y UI to it. I hated that it was visible for a lot of it, but I did see that you could, you know,
toggle it,
make it smaller or disappear, because that would be awful. However, I do like the whole because there's more you can do with it. It's not just about the chat. You can also share your screen, which it looked awful. Like the like 20.
They showed you playing Mario Kart and everybody sharing their screen, and the gameplay of the Mario Kart live looked bad. Like that
Looked
was like
awful,
a lot of frame drops, and it didn't look like it was really conveying much information.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because it's running all four at once, and if you go into one specifically, it'll be better.
And it's
I
an
don't know,
online game, which I think also
Yeah.
probably doesn't help. It's like at that point, your Switch is trying to deal with like 5 different. It makes sense that felt a little bit funky, but like it very much was like, why would you even show this? Like this doesn't. This doesn't look good. But every other use of it, I thought actually did look good. Like they showed off the camera, which is a new accessory, cool. And it plugs into the top of your Switch, and that way you can. Obviously, like in that little Discord box that we talked about, you can like show yourself, so we could all be playing and we could all see each other like while we were playing Mario Party or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they also showed like a bunch of other like more what's the word I'm looking for? Like more gameplay oriented functionality that was interesting. Like in Mario Party, they showed that if we were all playing, you could have full screen and it would have this little like tag button, like that was like a little like speech bubble that would be above your character while you were playing Mario Party. So like as I'm taking my turn, you'll see me and I'm talking, and you can have that interaction.
You can see reactions and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like if you steal a star from somebody, like you'll see their face while you're doing it. Like those are all really that I think is very cool technology and something I could really see using. And like obviously like a couple of years ago, like during the pandemic lockdown era, like that would have been huge. But even now, like, you and I don't live in the same country, right? Like we can't like sit and play games in the same room together. But if we want to do this, like that is really cool. Like you and me and Steve could sit down and be like, let's play some Mario Party together, right? And like feel like we're in the same room. I think that's really cool. I really like that functionality.
Yeah, I think it is that thing that Discord does, I guess, of like you're not just talking while playing a game, you're also interacting in other ways, video and stuff like that. I don't whether it's going to be used in that way of like, oh, let's hop on Switch chat and just hang out for a bit while we're all playing our own things. They did sort of show that off of like, oh, your friends can be playing other things.
Yeah, we could all just like be in a chat room playing our own game, which is interesting too.
We said it would be that would have been great. Like COVID time, all playing Animal Crossing together, you're all sort of sharing each other's screens. Like, oh, look at this, as opposed to come to my island and see this thing quickly, and then you have to go through the long process, all the loading screens it takes to get to someone else's island, just to be able to go, hey, hop on quickly, and I'll show you this thing.
Or even like if we were playing online on someone's island, and it's like, oh, look at this, like I'm over on this part of the island. Look, I just found this cool bug or whatever, and like you could just look, like there's definitely like functionality like that I could see people getting a lot of use out of, even now, like even. I think it would have been obviously more useful then, but I think even now, there's I think a lot of, I can see people using it for like Twitch streaming and stuff, even if you're not like necessarily using the chat as the chat function, like being able to be like, if we were going to stream Mario Party together, it would be funnier to see our faces, right? So it's like, if this stuff works, I think people will use it.
It's streamer like culture, isn't it? I guess of like reactions and like it just makes it feel more vibrant.
Yeah, I think it's a very like Nintendo approach to online voice chat to have it have like game level functionality is I think really smart and cool.
Yeah,
and like they showed like what's that?
Or to just be slightly balked, like Nintendo to do, like, hey, here's this thing, but like, well, it's not quite the way you want it.
And that's the question, right? Is like, is the experience of this going to be more like the Mario Kart footage that we saw, or is it going to be more like the Mario Party stuff? And that remains to be seen.
I wonder if it's one of those things that like shows really well in Direct and then we never see it again.
Yeah, or it's like it's in like 1 or 2 games and then nobody else wants to support it because it's not that good. That's a really big possibility. But we'll see.
Look, as long as the rest of the features there, as long as the rest of the functionality, as in like you can still just talk, in a party. It works. Party chat works the same way.
And the built-in microphone, like the Steam Deck, is really cool. Like, and it has like a dynamic. It's a dynamic microphone, like the ones that we use to record. So it's able to like adjust the cone of where sound is being collected based on like noise levels and stuff. Like they showed this example of like somebody in the kitchen using a blender, and that like because of the way that the cone is, that it would only. Like they'd hear that in the background, but your voice would be on top. That technology like is available. Like that kind of microphone, like it does exist. So it's certainly not like a crazy claim, but it is one of those things that like I wonder how well it will actually work. I'm having the same thought about it as I did when we saw the original Switch reveal of like, yeah, but is it going to be that good? And that's my question with both of these features right now. But
Well, the interesting thing about that is a lot of the stuff that you just explained is actually like NVIDIA technology. AI focused, like voice clearing, audio
Right.
clearing, stuff like that. That's all stuff that you can do with an NVIDIA graphics card, and this is an NVIDIA machine.
So it
Makes me
probably
wonder if they're
works.
not just using a lot of the NVIDIA like software stuff. It might not necessarily be a hardware thing. It might just be like an NVIDIA thing. Same with the camera cutouts and stuff. I think a lot of that is without the green screen. I think that's an NVIDIA thing as well.
That was another thing. Yeah, they showed that, and we'll talk more about this, I guess, when we get to the Mario Party section with the upgrades. But that was one of the upgrades they showed, was like a game mode of Mario Party where you're all basically doing like PlayStation iToy games, where it's like it green screens you out and then puts you in the game, and you're like interacting with stuff on the screen, which is cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where like we'll have to see whether this is like a one-time gimmick and then it doesn't really end up going anywhere, or if these are ideas that like they feel have legs. But
Yeah.
it's all very interesting functionality. It's stuff I could definitely see being used in like cool, innovative ways, and it's like the kind of gimmick I think could have legs more than something like Labo or whatever, where like I look at it and it's like that feels like a fun idea more than like core functionality.
Yeah, it's one thing to have it be like just built into the software. Oh well, it's another thing to sell a camera and then not use it. So
Right.
but it could also work. PlayStation sold a camera year one, day one, that was mostly for streaming and stuff like that. Never got any use in games. I'm pretty sure has never been used ever since. Whereas, at least this one, even if games don't support it, can be used to just stream your face to your mates as you're playing games.
If the party chat stuff actually just works, then that'll be functionality that justifies its use enough. I think it's more like, do these other gimmicks end up being like, are we going to be playing games like 10 years into the life cycle that are still taking advantage of this functionality? I think the answer is probably yes, but it's one of those crazy Nintendo things. So who knows?
Yeah, I want to know if it's a per game thing. Like if you're in a game, you press the C button and the game has it, or considering you can see other people's games, if it's like, how you hit the home button and you open up the eShop, it basically opens up a brand new thing.
Yeah.
Whereas on the PlayStation, you just go into the shop and it's like you're just browsing it, you can come back out. I wonder if the UI is going to be, and I think that was due to a lack of RAM on the Switch, of like I can't do these two things at once. There are some games where you can't even game record because it's using all of the RAM. Especially Overwatch, when you want to get like a little clip or whatever. Maybe if there's more RAM in this system, maybe it will be this is just always running in the background. You don't have to worry about sort of it being per game or anything like that. It's just a thing that is always happening. Because also, what I would want to be able to do is back out, swap games, and not have to like leave a chat, come back in. I want to just like use that as an app that is always running, and then be able to sort of back into that, come out, go into that. The fact that C button's there makes me think that's going to be the way.
But that's what I was going to say. The fact that they built a button into it makes it feel like it's very like, like hardware level, like it's constantly running in the background. It's an interesting question though. It would be a very Nintendo thing for it to not be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did not have to blow my nose once during that whole presentation. Here I am,
just bringing attention to it every 5 minutes too.
Yeah, sorry.
For the audio listener, they don't even have to know. You keep muting yourself, and then you're like, I just blew my nose, and they're like, gross. Now they know.
I want them to know. I want them to know I'm suffering.
You wanted them to have that experience.
The next feature I wanted to talk about was Game Share.
Huge. This is dope.
Massive. It reminds me of the DS days. There were games when you could just go into the Game Share thing and you'd connect to someone wirelessly. They download that little bit. I wonder if there's still going to be a download involved, or if it's literally just going to be a server-based thing where you just connect to
That's interesting.
Their system.
I would guess
because on the DS it was you downloaded the little bit.
I'm gonna guess it's still a download, especially considering it has online functionality, which I thought was really interesting. It's like they showed that you could play online with up to 3 switches for certain games. And
it could just be that it's like how it works on PlayStation, where I'm pretty sure there's like you can basically take control of your friend's PlayStation through the internet using your controller at home to get them through a difficult part or show them something. Is it going to be that where it just runs a local multiplayer session
and then you just access it?
And then you just access it. So it's sending your controls as a signal.
That may be, yeah. I don't know.
They all seem like split screen games. They don't seem like full. They seem like split screen games. It seems like you are playing games in split screen, or games where you play on one screen as opposed to, I don't know, you're both playing ARMS, let's say.
I don't
know. That's
know.
a game I went for.
I feel like we don't know enough about it to speculate because it's like they said old games will need an update. It'll be planned for more Nintendo Switch 2 titles. I don't feel like we got enough examples for me to speculate on which types of games will qualify. I think the only thing, like, in terms of download and everything, I would imagine that there's some level of download just because I feel like there's probably some essential assets that you'll need on the console, but maybe not. Because the way you're describing it, it's like one console is then what? Like you're broadcasting to 3 other consoles over the internet and then they're sending signals back to you. It just seems like maybe a little bit too much, but I don't know.
You're probably right.
It's an interesting one, though. I think this is something that, like, again, with, like, the voice chat and the like, you know, trying to push for more, like, couch co-op style experiences with online gameplay, this is really smart, right? Like, if there's a new game that I got and I want to play online with my buddies, like, I don't need to convince 3 people to go spend $60 on a game we might only play once, right? Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So then we got back into more console details, right? And a lot of this was stuff that they had shown in the reveal trailer, or we've heard talk about, and they kind of just like reiterated some of it, and then some of it was new information. We have a bigger screen. The device is the same thickness as the original Nintendo Switch, which I thought was good. It has a 1080p screen, which was the first time we had that, like, properly confirmed.
Yeah.
It is able to support up to 120 FPS, which is huge.
Huge.
They confirmed it is an LCD screen, but that it does have HDR support. So that does, I think, soften that blow a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's still going to look good, I think. And I also think that the fact that it, 120, all of these things, I think on an OLED screen would have made the system more expensive.
Yeah.
I think the fact I'm glad they prioritized 120 FPS, 1080p, like a high resolution. I'm glad they've gone for all of that over like just having an OLED. I do wish it had VRR because that would be better with how shaky Switch games can be sometimes. But hey ho, HDR support is great.
So then Joy-Cons attach magnetically, which we knew. There's bigger SL and SR buttons on the tops of the Joy-Con when you use it in like single controller mode. So that'll make those buttons a little bit easier to press, which is great because they were comically small on the original.
And they're made of steel. Don't forget they
are made of steel, which is pretty metal.
Yeah.
Nice. They confirmed the mouse control as well, which is great, and we ended up getting...
that feels like a gimmick to me, and I know it was going to be a gimmick, but I also thought it would be like, oh, they're going to show off a thing that makes me go, oh, that is justified. But so far, from what I've seen, it's just this could have been gyro. They've just gone for mouse.
I disagree with that.
Some examples that are different.
I disagree with that because they showed off Civ later. That to me is the functionality. Yeah. That is practical functionality, right? Is that now point-and-click PC games can be immediately ported over to Nintendo Switch 2 without having to come up with a control scheme. That's the real functionality of that in my mind. Any of the Nintendo stuff that they showed us all looked like a gimmick and all looked like bullshit, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
But that's not what I think you use that for. I think you use that so you can play Civ 7 on a console.
Yeah, because even Metroid Prime 4 had mouse controls.
We agreed that looked cool, though. That did look cool.
My first reaction to that was like, ugh. And then I was like, well...
Because they showed you using it like the gun, and I was like, all right, that's actually kind of cool.
I mean, I guess like you would, control an FPS with a mouse. But my initial reaction was one of disgust. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, okay, actually, yeah, I can sort of see that. I didn't see anything first party from Nintendo of like, this is the killer app.
No, I think Civ is the killer app. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, which we did say, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think that is cool, right? Like, I think when it comes time for games like Civ or like the next cool indie point-and-click horror game or, something like that, any first-person game. Like, again, like you talked about Overwatch, like maybe when the next hot first-person shooter you want to play is on Switch, like you could play with mouse and keyboard controls, and like that will be better, right? Like, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Nintendo applications seem pretty gimmicky so far.
Yeah.
Better speakers, built-in mic, and the speakers are a lot nicer, which I'm pretty stoked about.
Yes.
Built-in microphone, 3D audio support.
3D audio I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's great.
That's going to be nice.
fully adjustable kickstand on the back of it, which is great. USB-C on top. That's for the camera, of course. It's also for function, like you can use it for charging when you're in handheld, like
Yes.
kickstand mode.
I like that the charger that they showed with that isn't just the Switch brick.
Yeah, it was a new one.
It's a full USB-C like brick with a power supply with the USB-C cable, so you can mix and match, change cables. You don't have to buy that specific charger. Whereas a lot of the time with the Switch stuff, if you lost your charger or your charger broke, anything you plugged in just wouldn't quite charge the Switch well enough. Unless you've got something really powerful. Whereas I think the fact that this comes in more traditional format, I think it's gonna be a lot better for charging.
Yeah, and if there's ever a situation where like you have a dog or something and they bite the cord, you can just replace it and not have to buy a new charger.
Any USB-C charge cable, good.
Yeah, that's nice.
It means you're not, you can get cheaper ones that are still good, as opposed to spending.
Or like if you want to get like a longer one, right?
Yeah,
like or something
exactly,
like that.
yeah.
If you want to be able to charge from like further away, like
Yeah.
so it's just nice to have that option. 256 gigabytes of internal memory storage, which is great. It's quite a bit more.
Which is what they said 8 times more, which I think is.
I think that's right.
It still doesn't sound like a lot when you compare it to other systems, but also, I'm assuming the cartridges are still going to be. Everything's on the cartridge. You'd never have to install a game unless you're downloading it digitally.
And even if you do download them, the game sizes are smaller than, they're better optimized usually.
Yes, yeah. The dock being 4K.
This is huge.
Having a 60 FPS output.
The new dock
that's great.
Has 4K support and it has an internal fan to keep the cooling. When it's outputting at that higher level. This is sick. This is what we were hoping for, right? It's obviously it's not an eGPU, but I think this is good enough.
Yeah, I do wonder if it is kicking out 4K 60 FPS because it's got high power delivery. Because and it's using that dock to sort of boost it, the fan on it. I would assume so, because otherwise, why do you need the dock if it's capable of doing it and it's just outputting? The fact that it's probably adding extra power into it, which makes you think it's quite a high power brick anyway.
Well, and you got to imagine, right? Like it doesn't have to display on the screen, right? So it's like that's like a little. It's interesting though, yeah, because it's like I guess the device itself is capable of 4K, but it wouldn't do that in handheld mode because the screen's only 1080, right? So it's I guess it's probably unlocking that extra.
Yeah, it just needs that juice because the way I'm thinking about it is if Metroid Prime can be 4K 60 or 1080p 120 docked,
right?
That is 720p 120 if you were on the handheld screen. If it was capable of doing that without the extra power delivery, it would still do it 1080p 120, if you know what I mean. So I think that the fact that Metroid Prime has to come down in the 1080p mode to 720 to output the same FPS means it must be getting more power from somewhere. And did
we see it say that in handheld though?
Yeah, underneath the thing it says docked 4K 60 or 120 1080p or 1080p 60, 720p 120 on the handheld.
Okay.
So it must need that power to boost that up to 1080p 120. So it must just be that it just puts in like the ROG Ally. You can bump that up to like performance mode when you're plugged into like a 100-watt charger, and it will just run higher clock speeds and all that stuff. So it's probably a power delivery thing.
Very interesting to see how that's going to play out because that's exciting. Like seeing that for Metroid Prime of being like it supports fucking 120 FPS mode is wow, okay.
Nintendo Game Support 120 FPS is we've jumped past 90, we've jumped straight to 120, and it's not like the way that PlayStation does it, which is if you have a 120 FPS monitor, you can sort of run it in 40 FPS performance mode to get like a balance of quality and performance, and then it looks better on a 120 FPS screen. This is running at 120 FPS. I kind of wish my TV supported that, but it's okay. I'll have to live with 4K.
To buy a new TV.
Stop it. Interestingly, the the Switch 2 in the UI they showed us for being able to choose the resolution, 1440p was included.
Yeah, so you can have monitor output.
Yeah, which is nice because I have a lovely 240 hertz 1440p monitor, OLED monitor here, which I think would be very nice to be able to run Switch 2 games through this and maybe be able to play like Metroid Prime 4 in 1080p 144 OLED or 1440p 60 FPS or whatever, be able to play it on this OLED screen here, to sort of save the TV for Cat, but also just allow me to actually still enjoy these games in HDR on an OLED monitor. Because this current Switch not supporting HDR means I don't really get the benefit of an OLED when I plugged it up here before.
Right.
But, HDR support, wow, I think these games are going to look fantastic. Colourful, bright. Games like Metro Break, sort of, bits of dark. These are going to look great on an OLED screen.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think everything we heard here that was new information was all stuff I really was excited to hear.
Yes.
Good changes.
Yeah. Agree.
So this next one is, I think, the one thing that they showed off that I really thought felt like a misstep, in like a significant way, which was they showed off this new game that's called Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and it like teaches you how the Switch 2 works with like a lot of like these, like there's like a lot of little mini games and tech demos, and it's like you're a little guy like physically walking around a Nintendo Switch to different areas of it where it's like, this is how this works and this is how that works. And as we were watching it, you and I were like, oh, this is like interesting. It's like their play on like an Astrobot, like, show off some of the core functionality or whatever with like a pack-in title. And then there was this little like graphic at the end of it where it was like, oh, it's like a downloadable paid game. And I was like, okay, pass. Like, I'm not going to buy this fucking tech demo. Like, why would you think we would pay for that?
It's like the 1-2 switch of like, oh, you have to pay £40 to play the Joy-Con tech demo. Like, no, that's not fun. If
you trained us that we get those for free with Wii Sports, and that's the only one of those games that was ever actually a game I would have spent money on.
Yeah, and also the if you thought that like the Switch 2, it doesn't have that many new features that would require you to be like, hey, here's this complex, like the Steam Deck having the Valve one, what's it called, Portal. Aperture Desktop.
Yeah, Aperture Desk, whatever. Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, these are how the thumbsticks work. Here's how the touchpad works. Here's the back buttons. And like, that's clever. It shows you how that all works. The Switch being basically identical to the Switch 1 in functionality. It's like, well, why do you need to teach me this stuff? It's all optional. So why do I pay for this?
Right. Yeah. And like, again, if it was like a free pack-in thing that I could just kick into on day one and like get familiarized with the console, then great. But like, yeah, the expectation that I'm going to like spend money on what is a tech demo to teach me about the functionality of the console, it's like, no thanks, not interested.
No,
even if it's cheap, I don't want to spend money on that.
It looks clinical as well. It doesn't have like a fun theme like Astrobot does of like, hey, here's Switchy and here's a new Switch mascot and he does this and move his head around. There's none of that. It's just,
right. Like you
walk around a museum, walk around an instruction manual you've paid to.
Yeah, which is like, I remember like playing Astrobot on day one on PlayStation 5 and being like, this was so much fun. Like I would love a full game of this, right? Whereas like, I can't imagine anyone's gonna play this and be like, I could use more, Especially when there are so many other Nintendo games that exist as like ways to play mini games. It's like we have Mario Party, we have WarioWare. Like we don't need another budget like collection of mini games. Like we just don't. Nobody needs this.
Yeah, it's just like this is not going to do well. This is at some point going to become free. But then I thought the same about 1-2 Switch, and then they did a sequel to 1-2 Switch. Yeah. So I mean,
and that game sold well, right? Because it's like there was nothing else to buy. We watched a presentation about how there's going to be like 60 games day one. Like, why would I pay for that when I could get Mario Kart? When I could get fucking all these, there's all those indie games that are going to be there like day and date and stuff like that. It's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, then we got to look at the new Switch 2 game cards. They are the same size and shape. They're just red. And they have much faster read speeds. So an improvement, but not the like change in shape that I think some people thought we would get like we did with the 3DS, where it's like basically the same, but there's like a weird little hook on it or something so that you can't put it into one of the old consoles. I think that's kind of interesting. Like you figure that they would want to account for that, but
I was thinking that. Then I realized that, because even while we were watching it, I was thinking that, and then I was like, well, discs look the same.
Yeah.
I pick up a PS5 disc, I could put it in a PS4 and nothing would happen. And that's
maybe we're at a point where the idea that people wouldn't understand that is like antiquated, right? Like,
yeah. And the boxes look different. I've seen a box here. It says Nintendo Switch 2 across the top. Games that are on both systems say Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I think that might also be to mitigate that issue.
That's good.
They're fuck ugly, by the way, these Switch 2 editions, because it has to have all that text like this contains a Nintendo Switch game and the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade pack, blah blah blah. Fuck ugly. Hopefully they get better where they don't have to do that.
I'm trying to look at it so I can see.
Oh, I'll send you.
That's a lot of text, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is like a full, like, it's okay. So I'm looking at the Breath of the Wild one, and it's like Breath of the Wild, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And then there's like a black opaque box and an entire paragraph of information, and then a QR code in case you still don't understand.
Need more information. The Nintendo Switch 2 edition logos are also a bit ugly, but they have to be burnt enough to get it.
Yeah.
I just think you should have done a smart delivery thing here of just, you don't sell this, you just sell the console, or the game, and then the expansion thing. And when you put the thing in, it says, hey, you're about to play the Switch game. If you want the Switch 2 game, £15 more, please.
Right.
Or even just like a sleeve that says Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I don't know.
This does allow them to continue selling 10-year-old games at full price, though. Which I'm sure they love.
Yeah, I do kind of wish I didn't just trade in Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Tears of the Kingdom, but oh well.
You trade in your games too quick, man. You got to save them.
2 years.
2 years. It's too soon. Okay, so then we also got confirmation that we're going to need a new micro SD card. There's a new, like, it's the newest iteration of them with the faster write speeds and all that. Our existing micro SD cards for Nintendo Switch proper will not be supported. That is a bummer. I get it, but that does suck.
Yeah, sorry, I've just brain farted.
Micro SD?
Yeah, sorry. MicroSD, yeah, it's a shame that we're not using them. However, they are so cheap, I think. I don't know about these X ones. They are... I've never bought one. But as someone who bought a MicroSD for my Steam Deck, has bought a MicroSD for the Switch, they are affordable.
Yeah.
It's a shame it's not an M.2, but I get why they don't want people to be taking the controller off and stuff, but that would just give you more options.
Yeah.
But you can get terabyte MicroSDs now, and are you going to need them? We said before that they're
probably
generally
not right away.
Smaller file sizes,
right?
And blah, blah, blah. It's a shame that you can't use them. It's a shame you can't just unplug it and upgrade it. But again, like if I just do
it would also be nice to like not have to transfer my games, you know? Like they said you'll be able to use system transfer again, so that's good. But yeah, it would be nice to be able to just be like, great, I'm going to pop the brain out and put it in the new device and move on. But
these are more expensive than I thought they'd be.
Makes sense that they would be, right? Because they're like the upgraded ones. What's the average price on them?
Okay, I'm looking at a SanDisk MicroSD Express 256 gigabytes.
Yeah.
256. Guess how much that costs?
200.
That's it's £80. But like considering I can get, I paid £35 for my 512 gigabytes.
When you said it was more expensive, I'm like, this is gonna be.
This is
the poorest tax.
Hang on a minute, 256 MicroSD. That's $17.99, please.
Okay.
Or if you want an extreme MicroSD XC, which is not the same as Express, that's £21. So it's 4 times more expensive than even the best.
Yeah, quite a bit.
That is more expensive than I thought. However, no, there is no however to that. That's just expensive.
It's just expensive. If you want to get a decent amount of storage on this thing, it's going to be at least the cost of a game, which sucks. But
Jesus, this whole thing's expensive. Also, I've just seen that physical games are like they are close to like 70 or 75.
Yeah, of course they're going up to 70. This was one of my predictions for this year. Right?
Mario Kart World is £75, so it jumped from 60 up to 75.
75.
Yeah.
Really?
This is a very expensive system.
Wait a minute. Does that mean they're going to be fucking $80? Let me see if I can find this real quick.
See if you can find it, because this is a
holy shit, dude. Nintendo Switch, this is Insider Gaming. Nintendo Switch games will cost up to $80 for digital, $90 for physical.
No way.
Is that right? Okay. This is Europe. This is Euro, which I'm not saying that that's not a lot, but that is different than USD. So that's still.
Yeah, but what's the difference? What's the exchange rate?
It's saying here too also, the announcement of $80 digital video games for Nintendo Switch 2 can be found on the official Nintendo website. It's worth mentioning that Donkey Kong Bonanza is being priced at $70, which seems to suggest that it will continue to be a game-by-game basis, though 80 to 90 seems more welcomed by Nintendo.
This is I thought 400 for the console was fine. I was like, yeah, that's not too bad.
That's actually
okay.
good. Like, I would argue that's a good price. I think even at 500 with a game is not bad.
It's just every other part of it.
Is that? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it on the US site, and it says June 15th, $79.99 MSRP.
Jeez.
That's nuts, dude.
That's nuts.
That's really
worse
nuts.
Than we'd ever thought.
Remember when we were complaining about 70?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna buy less Nintendo games at that price.
I mean, I'm definitely
not even punitively, just like literally, like I can't afford to drop fucking $90 every time I want to try a game. So
yeah,
if I'm on the fence about a game, I'm just not gonna get it.
It's gonna be like I only play Nintendo Switch like exclusives that I definitely want to play, as opposed to, oh hey, I'll just pick this up on Switch because I can play it. We have Steam Decks, we can play these elsewhere. I think, yeah, geez,
that's tough. That is tough. Expensive. I don't even think the controller is like pressing me that much. Like, it's $80. It's not cheap. It's expensive, but it's a controller. You buy that one time. Right, like
yeah, it is more expensive than the it's £10 more expensive than DualSense's.
Yeah, which is still a lot. I'm not like necessarily defending it. It's more just like that's easier to swallow because it's a one-time investment versus every game. I also found VGC Video Games Chronicle has an article about some of the accessory pricing. We got some more updates here since we went live. Nintendo Switch camera is going to be $60. Not bad.
No, that seems about right.
GameCube controller will be $65. Not too bad.
Yeah, it does also seem expensive.
And then the Nintendo branded micro SD, they have one for $54. So
that doesn't seem too bad actually.
So,
that does seem a lot better.
Not too bad.
Yes, $80 for Mario Kart Switch, but the games will be cheaper. Sorry, I'm just jumping it around here. Will be cheaper digitally.
Right.
Than they are physically.
So I guess I'm not buying physical games anymore either, which is fine. I pretty much already made that switch, but like. Yeah, yikes.
Yeah, but then you're going to have to get the SD card to be able to put them all on the system, really.
Wow.
It's
a lot, man. That's a lot. That is the first real negative thing. That's a bummer. But
I wonder if this is Nintendo. This is just a Nintendo being Nintendo thing, or if we're going to start seeing all the consoles be because these things came out in 2020. A lot has changed in 5 years, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot has changed. And I wonder if this is just how much gaming is going to be. The industry is not in a fantastic spot.
No. Yeah, I mean, it could be. If Nintendo gets away with it, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the other guys try to match up. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe their thought process here too is that, like, you think about it, right? PlayStation and Xbox have been charging $70 for the last 5 years, and Nintendo hasn't. So maybe this is their thought is like they're
I'll make up for it.
Yeah, and that this is what games should cost now. But obviously that's too much money. It's just too much right now, I think I was an advocate for the $70 price point. I don't like it, but I understood it. 80 is a lot, dude. That is, you're getting up there, man. We can't be spending $100 per piece of software. That's
no, absolutely not
crazy. And I mean, maybe this is them justifying the game share thing too. It's like,
you don't have to spend. Whoa, hold your horses. You don't have to spend this twice. Just spend it once, and or split it in half.
Because you think about that, right? Like, that is the kind of thing where, like, if you were a family with like 2 small children and you wanted to buy Mario Kart, historically you would buy 2 copies, but now you could probably just get away with having 1. And like game sharing and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I would rather pay for the game.
And then there's an argument of like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who owns it? Who actually has that? Because otherwise, now you've got to go through the whole game cartridge thing. And
yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, we'll talk more about that. Let's get back to the direct.
Exciting stuff. Woo! Transfer data. We've done that bit. Switch 2 Pro Controller.
Switch 2 Pro Controller. We didn't get to that.
Fine. Okay, fine.
We talked about the price, the new functionality of it. We didn't get to talk about.
Yeah, so it looks identical, but it's not that clear plastic. It's matte, which was a weird decision for them to make. That's the only thing on the Switch that ever had clear plastic. Is that
which I did
Pro Controller, and then all of the special editions also had clear plastic. Weird, bizarre choice. This now being just matte black.
The triggers are a different color too. It looks
they're like silver. Like at the whole top of it, I think is silver.
It has a C button added for the
C button added. It has a jack, audio jack,
for
probably
headphones.
so that you can sit away from your TV with headphones on and still, get the 3D audio and all that sort of stuff. Which is better because the situation I had before they added wireless dongle support, when I had like I don't know, 10-foot cable running from my Switch across my bedroom. Then I had to go into a power line adapter. I had to go into like a ground loop adapter at one point because it was like buzzing because it was on this, I don't know, whole confusing shit. It's better now, is what I'm saying. It's just expensive. Also, it's got the grip buttons on the back.
Yeah, we got the extra back paddles that are programmable, which is cool.
GR and GL.
Seems like that's going to be a thing too. They talked about those being programmable in the GameCube emulator. They showed you being able to change the loadout. Wonder if that's going to be a thing they start actually supporting now, which would be great.
Yes.
Huge accessibility feature that they don't offer. So then they reiterate, or no, this would the first time that they told us after that was the June 5th release date, which we've already said a couple times. So
yeah.
June 5th.
When was that?
They said that after the
No, what date I'm saying? June 5th.
June 5th? That's
okay,
the date. You got it.
June
April 9th is pre-orders.
Yes.
So then they talked about the 3 types of games that you can play on Nintendo Switch, which are Nintendo Switch 2 games, Nintendo Switch 1 games, and then Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games is what they're called. So that is the upgraded ones that we were just talking about, right? So they showed off a couple games taking advantage of that functionality. Mario Party Jamboree was the first one. We talked about that a little bit earlier where they showed off some new content that takes advantage of the Switch 2 exclusive features. Like there were games that use the mouse, games that use the microphone, and games that use the camera. And there's like an entire like all those like the face buttons and everything we talked about was all shown off. But then there's like an entire like game mode that takes advantage of the camera to have you like do these interactive mini games, and it seems like a lot of added content, right? It's not just like, oh, it runs better, it plays better. It's like, oh, you have all of these new games and all the like these new little interactive elements that you'll add with the Switch 2 functionality, which I thought was cool because some of the other, like they showed off Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that, and like those felt more just like this runs better. It runs better. Yeah. It's more performant. I liked that they showed off a different style of upgrade where it was like actually adding like a ton of new content to a game,
Well, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom ones weren't just straight upgrades like that. They do have an exclusive feature.
Oh, the Zelda Notes, right?
In the Zelda Notes thing, which,
right?
Again, gimmicky, weird, like stuff. But that is like
not useless though.
New players who might want to take advantage of that, but they are at least still offering something extra. It's like the Metroid Primes that seem like it's literally. I mean, we don't know much, but it seems like that's just, hey, you can run this at a high resolution and frame rate.
It was similar with
that's also a new game, so I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's weird that they're selling that as a version and an upgrade as opposed to just here's the version, buy it in 2 different places.
That to me felt more like that. Like it was less like, oh, here's the upgrade, and it's more like you can buy the Switch 1 day 1 or the Switch 2 one day 1, and they are different, right? Because I'm with you, like it feels very different. Because I forgot about the Zelda Notes. That was a thing where it's like it's a second screen experience on the Nintendo Switch app, and you can basically like get a Google Maps to help you find like Korok seeds that you haven't found or like other collectibles or whatever, and it literally will be like go north and like start directing you towards where you would find more of the thing. Whereas with, like you said, with Prime, that's just enhanced where it's like you have mouse controls, you have 4K 60 FPS support or 1080 120 support like we talked about earlier, both with HDR. And then with Zelda, there was also you could share QR codes.
Oh, the schematics for your designs.
Yeah, your schematics, which is really
that's
cool.
Sick. That should have been there at launch, I think, because the community would have been huge for that. I'm just like, hey, I created this thing. Here's this fun thing. Play around with it. Imagine being able to crowdsource that in more of a here's a full schematic kind of way. Well, it'd be interesting to see how that works. I do think it's one of those like, is this too late things?
I think generally I would think so, but I think the fact that this is like going to be their day and date on a new console, like there probably will be people that like jump back into it, or I imagine it'll get a second life. The other one that they showed off was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and that has like a whole new Switch exclusive story mode, which is really cool. Again, just like adding more value than just it runs better, which I really like, because I loved that game. I would love to play like a little 0.5 sequel. That sounds great. The Pokemon ZA they also talked about, but all they said was enhanced resolution and frame rate. They didn't have any specifics about that, which was a little bit funny considering Pokemon doesn't run super well historically. But...
I'm wondering if they're gonna save that for that game doesn't have a date yet. We just know it this year.
No,
right?
Neither of them do, right?
No, Metroid and that. Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna get a bigger direct for each of those games, maybe that goes into more details about.
I hope so.
About that. It's one of those things that I wonder if it's even worth buying the Switch One version of either of those games.
I feel like no, unless you're not upgrading and you don't want to wait, right? Because it's like it's similar to I think what we saw PlayStation do, right? This last generation with like God of War and Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Horizon 2 and stuff like that, where it's like you get the cross-gen release, and if you're somebody who owns a PlayStation 4 and you're not ready to upgrade or you haven't been able to find one or whatever, and you don't want to wait, then great. Yeah, you can play the slightly down-tuned version, and it'll probably be good enough, right? And if you're on Switch too, then obviously you're going to take the better version. So then the other thing that they told us is that these upgrades are going to be paid, but they didn't talk about the pricing structure at all, which I found to be very frustrating. Because is it a flat thing where it's one upgrade cost for every game? Is it going to be a la carte, like based on like what is added? It just seems like something that I would have, in the same way that I think it's pretty annoying that they didn't say like when pre-orders would go live. It's like it's annoying that I have to ask all these questions and go like scour the blogs and stuff to find answers, or I have to get it from BGC, or it's like, you gave me an hour-long direct presentation. Convey this information to me if it exists,
What I'm worried about with some of these things is now that we know the prices are as high as they are for the games, what does that mean in terms of the price of these upgrades, and especially the price of the upgrade plus the game? So let's say you're like me and you traded in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm like, yeah, I'll check this out. Am I paying $75 to play Tears of the Kingdom, or am I paying $60 for Tears of the Kingdom and then an extra? Sorry, that's $75. And then am I paying like the difference to make it up to about the cost of a brand new game? Do I have to buy the game again, or?
That's my thought. Is I would guess it's probably to close that gap, but it's like, is that going to be $20 then? If there was a $60 game, that seems like too much. If it's 10, I think that. I've argued that doesn't feel that bad, right? Like on PlayStation, it's like, should it be free? Yes, it would be great if it was just free. But for $10, it's like, all right, like that's not the end of the world, right? So like, I don't know. It's a big question though. It's a big question mark, because if it is 20, if it is any more than like that 10 range, I think it's gonna feel like you're getting nickel and dimed in a way that like, again, it would dissuade me from playing some of these things. Because if it is like, oh, like I'm going to buy this extra functionality, it's like, am I playing Mario Party right now, though? If not, then I won't. And, it's like, I don't want to be dissuaded from paying for things because it's all a little expensive.
I guess you have the option of buying a second-hand copy of this game and then just buying the upgrade, or, just using the copy you already have if you do keep it along. So maybe it's not too bad. I just wish it was more of a, like, hey, it's going to cost exactly this much for every game to upgrade.
I wish we had transparency about it.
Yeah, and they just like, if it took them a little bit longer and they added more functionality, that's on them. They've just got to eat that extra cost. But across the board, it's £15. That would be fine with me.
Definitely be a lot easier to swallow. So then we got another new Nintendo game. That's like the one that they talked about to show off the mouse functionality. It's called Dragon Drive. It's
Ooh, yeah.
a wheelchair basketball game, and we were both like, "Oh, this is a cool idea." And then when they were showing the gameplay, it just looks very slow.
Yeah, it looks like you're really having to do that. It doesn't look fun, is what I'm thinking. It looks like I get the functionality, I get the things you can do. It just doesn't look like I'm going to be like I'm not sat on my chair playing that. I'm sat in front of a table or a desk and I'm doing that, or I'm doing it on my legs.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't seem good.
And like when they were showing the gameplay and it was like some of the movement looked like someone was like you know, like when you hand a controller to somebody that doesn't play video games and it's like press A to jump and they have to look down and be like, what's that? And it's like it's like that kind of like disrupted movement. It looked like that. And it's like, this is a demo. Like, what is it gonna look like in real time? I don't know. Like, again, it's a cool idea. I like the idea of like doing something like kind of off the wall with the mouse and like sliding and stuff to like for movement. Like, it's a fun idea, but it doesn't look like it translated into a very fun game, which is a shame.
Yeah, it just like it reminded me a little bit of in 2015 they had like a championship thing just before they did their E3 show, and they ended with a game called Blast Ball, and it was on the 3DS. And players were shooting this ball into a goal with a hand pistol. And I remember thinking, this looks a weird amount like Metroid, but also like this is a brand new game. This seems like a weird thing. Why are they making this weird one-mode game? And it turned out that was just a tag-on mode for Metroid Prime Federation Force. So the whole time Dragon Drive was being shown, I was like, they're going to show off, and Dragon Drive is part of this collection of games.
Yeah, like a collection of mouse games, right?
Yeah. And then it was just that one game, and it's like, who's buying that?
It's also multiplayer, which is like, that makes it even a tougher sell.
Yeah, who's convincing 3 of their friends to then try and find another team of 3 online? If it was like a single player game that you could play by yourself, or just like play, a couple of games locally, but
and packed in, that would be another way to go about it. But
just to have to get 6 people to buy one mode that looks chore to play, I don't think it's going to work. Also, you need both Joy-Cons to play it, so it's not even like you and a friend can pass a Joy-Con to each other. You have to be playing on your own system.
Yeah, it's just not an idea I feel like I see coming to fruition in a way that's like going to meaningfully, impact anything. But we'll see. Maybe
underwhelming.
Maybe it will play better than it shows. That games like that do exist.
Yeah,
I think a lot of VR games don't show particularly well, right?
True. Yeah,
when they're like experiential.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think we're probably right, but benefit of the doubt.
We usually are. Next
are.
up, though. Big shit, big stuff.
Yeah,
cool
we got a sizzle reel of third-party games, and there was not sizzle reel, I guess.
Yeah, they just went game.
It was just very quick, and there was a lot of really good stuff.
We don't have to talk too much about a lot of these because they are just ports, but there are some big ports in here.
Elden Ring, kick things off.
Wow,
that was huge. I think that was one that like when we were talking about what is the equivalent of like Skyrim, it was Elden Ring, and it's like they fucking did it, great. Huge.
Yeah, looks the same, I guess. I mean, it was 30 FPS on the other console, so that would make sense if it was on here as well. Hades 2, that's cool. We didn't get any confirmation of when it's coming, but I wonder if that means 1.0 is on the way. They didn't seem to mention early access, and I don't think that's something Nintendo wants to get involved in, so it seems like they're getting 1.0.
I think you're right.
Some point this year.
And it'll launch on Switch first, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Street Fighter 6
plus Amiibo are back.
3 new Amiibo, really cool, which is like was a big question mark, right? Like obviously we knew that Switch 2 that there was like NFC inside it, so like it could support Amiibo functionality. But you think about the last like kind of couple big Nintendo releases, they didn't have Amiibo, and people were kind of like, what's going on? Like the Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Wonder, like you'd think that you would have gotten a Toon Zelda Amiibo, you'd think you would have gotten a Elephant Mario, right? And we just didn't. So I think there was that kind of question of like, are we done with Amiibo? Like, are we not going to get new ones? And obviously we are. And a third party ones, no less. Those are even more rare.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at my Shovel Knight ones the other day, and I was like, wow, it's crazy that happened. Then Monster Hunter did them, and I think good to see Amiibo back. Good to see that's not something that's going away, because they are just, while I don't give a single solitary shit about their use in games a lot of the times, I do care a lot about having little mini.
They're just nice collectibles.
Licensed figurines that cost about £15.
Yeah, same.
Really cool to have. And you can have a load of them on the shelf, and that's good. Next up, they had Demon X Machina Titanic Scion, which is
Yeah.
a sequel to Demon X Machina, which I didn't.
Would
I was
not have
saying
expected
as
that
we
game to get a sequel, but okay.
No, because as it was on, we were both saying like, "Oh, this looks fun," but I said, "Oh, but mech games always look fun." I remember being excited for Demon X Machina, and then bang, there it was, and I was like, "All right, maybe they'll get me again. Maybe I'll give it a go again." They
Maybe.
might have improved this time. They are pretty, polarizing mech games anyway.
I just feel like that game was like, I remember that game getting a ton of attention because it was like early in the Switch's life cycle, and we're like, yeah, new games, and it was like, this game is not much to write home
Switch
about.
Exclusive, like new, and it came to other systems. It came to PC, and I don't think it blew the world away. Then we've since had like Armored Core come out, which proved that these games can still be good. Maybe we'll see if this is going to be one of them.
Cool that they're getting another shot at it, right?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. Next up was Split Fiction.
Split Fiction, that's going to be a launch day release as well. That's cool.
Yes, that is cool.
EA came out again after, like, they continued after that and said that there's going to be EA Sports FC and Madden NFL will both come eventually.
Yeah, I didn't have that written down, but that's cool because they are the big sellers, and the EAFC, the FIFA games, always are balked on the Switch. There are always lesser ports. It's a huge audience that they are screwing over and not thinking about. So hopefully they.
That's like a perfect handheld game too. It's like you
really
can definitely see people like chipping away at that.
Also, just like you're at work, you just play. You take a Joy-Con each. You play FIFA.
Right.
You play FIFA at the pub. You play FIFA. You're watching football. There's just to be able to have that on the go seems like a no-brainer, and they screwed it up before. So hopefully they don't screw it up this time.
Yeah, if they can get it right, that would be huge. And obviously, with Madden, right? Like that's one of the big American sports, so it's same deal. So then Hogwarts Legacy's getting a port. Nobody should play it though. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is coming.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's great. Obviously, they actually showed off that they like teased the SpongeBob level too.
Yeah, really
which is
cool.
Interesting.
New
That's
stuff.
new.
Like new stuff for an old game. Wicked, really cool.
Yeah,
DLC and stuff. Yeah, cool.
Um,
Hitman: World of Assassination for Steve.
That's another launch
that
day release as well, which is sick.
What, Hitman: World of Assassination?
Yeah, that's a launch day release.
There was another bit at the end of it, but I didn't write that bit down. So the name of it, but that's cool for people like Steve that like that.
Yeah, I just think generally like that'll be big for that game to be there day and date, as like a lot of people who've never tried it will probably give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then they did a teaser for fucking James Bond Project 007?
The 007 project.
Which
that was announced years ago as like, hey, we're doing this. I think it's before IO went
It was after they went independent, they announced
okay.
it, but I think it was before World of Assassination had been re-released. Like, I think they announced it at the end of Hitman 3's support, because I remember they put out a level around that time that I remember people were like, oh, this feels kind of James Bondy. Like, maybe this is them, like, starting to experiment with that style or whatever. I don't remember the exact specifics, but I remember people saying that when that came out.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it was years ago, right? Like, they announced that, like, it would have been years ago. I think about it. World of Assassination was what? 2 years ago?
I was not in this room when that was announced. Like it was over 2 years ago. Like this was So it was,
So there you go. So it's been a minute. So this is cool. It's not only it's the first time that they've talked about it in God knows how long. They did it at a Nintendo event. Like how often do you get like big third-party reveals of new games at a Nintendo event?
Games that aren't exclusive as well.
Yeah.
Games that are just like the last one I can think of, and it's not quite the same. But when they did Dark Souls Remastered was announced at a Nintendo Direct, and it was the first time Dark Souls had been on a Nintendo system, and then that was for everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, this is very cool. I think it's very cool when Nintendo are going to be getting things like this. It's going to be, you watch Nintendo Direct now, and you're not just going to be like, oh, what Nintendo games are we getting, or blah blah. What
you could get a big third party thing.
Yeah, this is what huge third party games are being announced. It's big. It sets a precedent.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it set a precedent that they followed up on in this very Direct, right? Like later on, with a new FromSoft game is fucking huge. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to that. We'll get there.
That
did a lot. Yeah.
We're not too far. So then Bravely Default 1 is getting a remake. It had a subtitle. I forget what it is, but it
had two subtitles, and it was shocking.
Yeah, it's a full remaster.
It was a very, very fun time HD remaster. Square Enix can't release a new RPG without having a shit name, apparently. So
yeah, fair enough. But yeah, the original Bravely Default is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best turn-based RPGs of the last, I mean, more than 10 years now, I think, unfortunately. But
It was a 3DS game, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it's old now, but it's a fantastic game, and I loved it a lot. I think it obviously it had 2 sequels that were kind of mixed in their reception, right? Bravely Second was not very well received. Bravely Default 2 was better received, but not quite as well as the first one, if memory serves. So I love that game. I would love to play it again. I think it would be great for people to have an opportunity to play it and not have it be stranded on the 3DS where you can't even buy it anymore. So yeah, this is great. And it's another day one release. So there you go.
Sorry.
You good?
Next up, we had Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the Yakuza games is already on Switch, but I can't remember which one. I remember that being announced. Maybe it wasn't 0, maybe it was like, who knows? There's too many Yakuza games for me to know.
Yeah.
And then we ended this little segment of partner games with, we had like real up and down reactions to this one, didn't we? It was Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. When we saw it was like a Koei Tecmo game, we were like, oh, what could it be? Probably Warriors. Then the more they showed of it being like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, when Zelda's back in time, we were like, oh, maybe this isn't. Maybe this is, maybe it was just me asking. Maybe it isn't Warriors. It looks like they're actually doing something different. And then it's like, how are they going to
pan out on a big crowd of bokoblins? It's like, okay, it's like, Warriors. Right. It's Hyrule Warriors 3, everybody.
It's Hyrule Warriors with a lot of characters you don't really know.
That you know even less. Yeah, right.
Yeah, which I do like the idea of the champions in their masks doing the cool shit we know them to do. Having like Minoru in that mech.
And like it does seem like it's like, you know, it's interested in like telling new lore and everything. Like I think if you like Warriors games, this is appealing, but we both struggle to connect with them.
Yeah.
So
one thing I will say is that the Age of Calamity Horror Warriors game had a similar thing of like, we're telling the untold story of Breath of the Wild, and then it actually turned out that it was a character had gone back in time and created a new timeline, and all of this stuff was non-canon. It's like, what's the point? What's the point of saying we're going to tell this story if you're then going to do a non-canon story where nothing actually is relevant?
It's got to be not canon so we can make a sequel.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't do it this time again, where it's like, oh, this, you know, we've sold you on this being, you know, the story, you know, it's not.
It's a prequel, so it's a little easier, I think, this time.
That was a prequel. That was a prequel.
Okay.
Yeah. Word. It was like, you know, we're going to tell you the story of when these heroes that you know were alive. But yeah, they just
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't do it again, because that was a bit of a bait and switch, but still.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not, you know, I hope it's good for the people that like Warriors games. So then the expansion pack is going to get an update for Nintendo Switch 2. So if you're a NSO subscriber with the expansion pack on Nintendo Switch 2, you will get GameCube games added to your library. And they showed off specifically Wind Waker, F-Zero, GX, Soul Calibur 2 will all be launch titles. And then
day and date.
Day and date. And then they showed
Wind Waker. That's gonna be a kicker to all the people that have spent the last 3 years saying it makes sense for them to do it this direct. It makes sense for them to actually show off Wind Waker. Obviously, they're going to show Wind Waker this time. They said it for 3 years. Like, it's never made sense. If it made sense, it would have happened by now. You know. And now they've
no. To be fair, it definitely made sense. They're insane.
Yeah, you mean Nintendo, right? Not the people.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Good. Yeah.
So then I also found a list here of the other games that were teased. Good. So because they had like a quick like pan of like they did with the N64 of like these other games will eventually come.
Can I see if I remember this?
Yeah, go ahead.
It had Pokemon XD, sorry.
Yeah.
Pokemon Colosseum.
Correct.
It had the one with the little robot, Chibi Robot.
That's correct. Chibi Robo, but I'll give it to you.
Chibi Robo.
And I 1, 2,
run out.
3, 4 left.
Oh, fuck that. You lead this. I can't remember.
Okay. Ones I feel like you maybe could guess if you like just thought of the GameCube library. It's Luigi's Mansion, right? Sure.
Shit, yeah.
Which makes sense, right? Because that's the only one that
sense.
you can't play on Switch, and it's also the only one that probably doesn't warrant a full HD remake because it's so short. So that's fine. Super Mario Strikers, the original, which is great because that's actually fun.
Sorry.
And then Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
And then Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, which is the one with Ike.
Yeah. Super Mario Sunshine's a weird one, considering you can play that as part of the 50th anniversary, 40th anniversary. The Mario
All-Stars it was limited release
3D
though,
pack.
so if you didn't buy it, you can't play it. So
you can't
now
get
you can.
that anymore, can you?
Yeah.
bullshit.
It's
isn't it?
ridiculous.
Christ.
They also
Yeah.
did say that these games would be updated, like upgraded with the, like they
Yeah,
run
that's
a little
interesting.
bit sharper and like the resolution's a little bit better. So like you could see that in
Yeah.
the Wind Waker. Like it kind of looks like the HD remake. So
It's,
I feel like
it's
we're getting
they're
it.
not afraid of emulating. You know, they are. It's always been emulation. Emulation. It's just sort of like not been said as such. But the fact they're doing like, hey, it's upgraded visuals, blah blah. It's emulation. They're using like
Customize.
a game.
You can customize the control schemes as well, which is something
Yeah,
you haven't been
exactly,
able to
yeah.
do. So that's really great.
It's emulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good though.
It's good. It's
I
great.
just don't want to pay that much for the online to access it.
Yeah, fair enough.
If it was, I've said this before. If it was the expansion pack, you pay this much a month, and you always get DLCs
Yeah,
as part of that, it would make sense. But the fact that you get that and the DLCs you have access to are the Animal Crossing one, Splatoon 2's Octo expansion,
and then Mario Kart.
and the Mario Kart one, and that's it. Those are the three. And it just doesn't seem like a good value to me. But that's me.
I think it's one of those things where it's easy for us to say that because we have Steam Decks. I think if I didn't have a Steam Deck and I wanted to play some of these games, then it's like that would be the value, right?
I'd find a way. I'd find a way.
Fair enough.
I'd work it out.
Okay. So then we got another launch day.
Ooh.
Deltarune episodes 1 through 4, baby.
Yeah, that's great. I
I'm
mean, 1 and
so
2
excited.
were on Switch. As soon as they came out, they were on Switch,
Yeah.
right? 1 and 2.
So
So 3
basically,
and 4 is the new stuff, right?
yeah, what's happened is when 1 came out, it was cross-released on PC and Nintendo Switch. When episode 2 came out, cross-released PC and Nintendo Switch. This is the first time that more than one chapter is coming out at a time, and it's also, I believe, the first time that they'll ever charge for it, because episodes 1 and 2 were free, and the plan was that 1 and 2, I think the plan was originally just 1 would be free, and then when they finished 2, they were like, whatever, we'll put it out. Because I think there's 7 chapters total.
Yeah.
Um,
You keep saying they. Is this a team or is it just Toby Fox again? Just
It's
going
Toby
for it?
Fox with a slightly, because in the original game it was like 90% Toby Fox, and then it was like he had assistance from like Temmie. I think Temmie's last name is Chang, but Temmie is what they usually go by. And she did a bunch of the other like character designs and art and stuff. And then I think he had like 1 or 2 other people that did additional programming help. Whereas this time he's like built a studio.
He's got a
around
team.
him. He's
All
got a
right,
team
cool.
now, yeah. And I think all of the original like Temmie and the other folks that assisted him are part of that team. And then they added it to include a bunch of other folks. So very exciting. Very exciting to get more of that
Huge.
game, and super stoked it'll be there day and date. I didn't expect that I would spend 100% of my time on launch day with an indie game, but I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Okay, then we got Borderlands 4. Got another little, it's nothing special, Borderlands 4. Civ 7 got shown off, and they were like talking about the mouse functionality and how
controls.
that's like a big part of why it is so great on Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, perfect for it.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's a perfect like proof of concept for like why the mouse functionality is actually useful. Because this is like a huge game that just came to PC, and this is the only console you'll be able to play it on, which is pretty sick. Then 2K.
Then yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, good point. I'm skipping ahead.
2K came out then and confirmed that WWE 2K and NBA 2K will both be on Switch too. So at this point, I think the only major sports game that isn't represented there is MLB The Show, which
Yeah,
will
but I'm
probably
pretty sure
come.
I remember something about 5-6 years ago of Sony being like, "Oh yeah, we're committed to publishing MLB The Show on Nintendo systems and Xbox," and it does come out on Xbox.
Yeah,
now.
it's been on
Maybe
Xbox
this is
for a
the
couple of years
system.
now.
Yeah.
So I think I would imagine that whenever it's time to talk about the show, they'll probably announce it
Yeah.
coming to
Same
Switch
with same with COD. We'll probably see when it's time to talk about the next Call of Duty. Switch
Yeah.
2 is going to be on the list. You know. Then
Right.
the stream froze. we didn't. I don't know what.
we
missed
had
the
to
game.
switch over to the UK stream, and
Yeah.
there was
They
a.
went, cool, blimey, governor. It's time for Star Seeker Astronaut Expedition.
I think there's 3 games that we may have missed because I think
Really, I
there
thought it was only 1.5.
It was the island crafting game that they started showing, and that was when it
Yeah.
froze. Then, as we were trying to refresh it, I remember hearing them say, "Welcome to Enter the Gungeon 2."
Oh,
so
like
I
a
think they showed
roguelike,
Enter the Gungeon
yeah.
2, which we missed.
Right.
And then we came back in at the end of the space.
Yeah, Star Seeker Astronaut
Yeah.
Expeditions. I couldn't tell you anything about it. It looked like No Man's Sky Light, but anyway.
Yeah, so we missed that stretch of games.
Yeah, that wasn't our fault though.
Yeah.
So apologies to the developers who paid loads of money to be in the big Nintendo Direct, and then no one got to see their games.
Yeah, I really hope that they get some kind of other feature or something like that for
Yeah,
that.
you'd
Because that
hope
was
so.
just such. It's technical issues happen, right? We weren't able to go live this morning, even though we didn't do anything wrong. Shit happens, but it sucks for the folks that were affected. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. This looked really good. Looked sharp. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Another that's this is the only other. Oh no, it's on Xbox now. I forgot. Yeah, it's just a cool get. It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of Sony. It's part of Square Enix's like no more exclusives.
Right.
Then again, they've announced Bravely Default. Is that an exclusive? I don't know.
Probably not.
Nah, probably not. It's
Probably
just we
not.
happened to see it at a Nintendo event.
It makes sense to show it at a Nintendo event first because it was a 3DS game, right? But I wouldn't be
Yeah, I
surprised
agree,
if it comes to Game Pass and PlayStation and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are both just like big AAA games that again, like it's nice to see them running on Switch 2 and be like, oh, cool, all right, that's represented there. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like we're just getting Switch 2 games now. Like we're getting games on Switch now. It's not going to be too much of a like a oh my god they're bringing this to Switch. It's like things are just going to come to Switch now maybe.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, things they hopefully will bring to Switch eventually is fucking Silksong because that was the next game on the list that they just casually dropped.
Yeah,
in
they had
part
their
of
little like sizzle reel of mostly games that were like. Games they
had
had
come out already.
Yeah, or
Like,
games they talked about at the Direct a few days ago. It was like a lot of just like sizzle, but then Silksong was just in the middle of it.
Yeah, just slip that in, reconfirm it to 2025. Good, it's good to know. It's
So our
just
third
like, I wish there'd be
reconfirmation of
more.
2025 now, right? It was this,
Yeah.
an Xbox event, and there was the rating thing, right? So it
But I'm
seems
pretty
like
sure in 2023 we had like it's coming out this year from Xbox and from Team Cherry, but
I know.
we'll see.
That's what I'm saying. We'll believe it when we see it. But we have had three different indicators in the last 5 months that it's coming out this year. So hopefully that's true.
We'll see, won't we?
So then next up was arguably the biggest announcement of the entire thing, which is fucking crazy, is that there is a new From Software game. It's a vampire theme to it called The Dusk Bloods. It's coming out in 2026.
I think you've missed one.
Did I?
Cyberpunk.
I said that.
Did you?
Yeah, sorry. If you want to comment on it, feel free.
I
said
just wanted to say
Cyberpunk
that-
and Final Fantasy VII or both.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I've got Cyberpunk last on
You're
my
good,
list.
you're
after Silksong, sorry. Cyberpunk, I think the trailer looked like it had DLSS artifacts in it, which makes me think that the only way they can get this game working is with DLSS, and that is the DLSS poster child. That game, that is the RTX on DLSS quality, blah blah, running at this many frames. That is the PC poster child for Nvidia's technologies. Would make sense if that was using them to run on the Switch 2. Sorry, let's get back into the FromSoft thing because that was. I was saying to you, I was like, "This looks like FromSoft." And I was like, "Weird that this looks like a FromSoft game." And then she said "blood," and I started freaking out. And then there was a mark on the guy's hand, and I was like, "There's no way! There's no way!" And I was losing my shit. It wasn't Bloodborne, but it is a new,
very like
exclusive.
It looked Bloodborne-y though. It had that like gothic architecture and
Bloodborne style with the guns and then the gothic stuff, and it also had like the flying around that is in the new Elden Ring Night Rain, an open world that looks a little bit like Elden Ring.
Oh, Max,
but
I have some news that you are going to be disappointed by.
Is it the fact that it's a multiplayer?
Yeah,
PvP?
I just saw that. I know you said that on the stream. You're like, oh, I hope it's not multiplayer. It is.
Yeah, it is a shame, but because. I don't know. I wonder if this is due to like some of the money they've been getting recently from like Tencent. I think they bought a little bit of and they were expressing interest in doing like Elden Ring mobile games, multiplayer versions of things. I know Sony bought some of FromSoft as well. I wonder if this is like them having to do these kind of smaller multiplayer games that are generally, the more repetitive gameplay loop of a multiplayer game means you can probably make it faster than a full single player thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and then there's like a longer
great.
tail on it too, right? Like a game like that like can be around and like could potentially make money for like several years and
yeah, you get other people get into it. Yeah, I think this looks. I'm still going to play it because I think it. Anything from software, fantastic. It looks like it's got a lot of the Bloodborne elements. They mentioned blood. The character's like. He drinks blood like a vampire. He's got the guns. It's gothic-y. Like it seems like the characters like in the little blurb it says like your character has special blood. it very much seems like it is in all but the IP that Sony owns, heavily like Bloodborne. It was fantastic to have confirmation that it was Miyazaki directing it. I don't think he did Night Rain. He did Elden Ring, and then Night Rain's being done by someone else. But it is Miyazaki is directing this, which is huge. Because
the other thing that we do know is they confirmed that it's on their website. It's a player versus enemies format multiplayer game, which is interesting. Okay. So it's
so I wonder if it's like
maybe sometimes it's collaborative, but also maybe you're like fighting other groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe it's similar to like the games when you can summon in friends, but also you can bump into people out in the world. I guess maybe it's very similar in the way to the just how in most FromSoft games how people can invade you and stuff. Maybe it's similar to that. I don't know. I would like to know more about this. It's not out till next year.
We will learn more about it very soon, though.
Okay.
There is going to be a official. Okay, it's called a Creator's Voice article. So Miyazaki is going to publish one of these on the Nintendo website on April 4th. So we'll have a lot more information in just a couple days.
Cool. Wicked. Yeah, this just seems like it's nice to get new IP.
And it's exclusive, which is crazy. Like it's, and again, you and I talked about this, about like, it's interesting how many of these games were multiplayer games. It's interesting that like this game is the big third-party exclusive and it's a multiplayer game. It's like, you got to imagine the online functionality on this console is going to be improved.
In fact, yeah, the ability to talk, to have that voice chat and all that sort of stuff.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if that's why they wanted to do this game exclusively with Nintendo too.
Yeah, maybe it's like, they've got these extra. Maybe there is extra functionality, with this chat thing. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm just glad that there is new From Software stuff, and that there's, I don't know. It looks similar enough to Night Rain that I'm like, how do the two compare? Which is like the focus here. I don't know. They're a big enough company now; they can do two games at once. So
yeah, no, this has the power of being an exclusive game on a Nintendo console that'll be there, within its first year and change. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems interesting that it's not multi-platform. That if it is exclusive, that it's not like on PC or something. But like, yeah, I think it speaks a lot to Nintendo's where their head is at to have a huge third-party exclusive from arguably the biggest game developer in the world right now. That's really cool. So then we got a double shot of One More Thing. That was either of these would have been big enough, I think, to end on. Really cool. Sick. So we got a little like hype trailer, right? Kirby's like falling through this like darkness. He's like trying to activate his star again, and then like a little like engine like panel pops up, and then it like pops back on, and it literally, I was like screaming, Kirby Air Riders.
Well, no, you were screaming Kirby Air Riders, and
then that was the name of the it was a sequel.
Like, it's called Kirby Air Ride, but you were right, it was Kirby Air Riders. Now, Kirby Air Ride is a game that I played hundreds of hours.
I loved that game, dude.
Oh, I used to like do City Trial. I filled in so many of those blocks on City Trial. When I got my Steam Deck, one of the first games I emulated was Kirby Air Ride, and I just started City Trial from scratch. And I was in the airport on the plane playing Kirby Air Ride. It's just one of those like, when I play something for 20 minutes, I'll do a couple of runs of this, because each run is 5 minutes. It very much has that feeling of a Switch game of like duck in, duck out. I've got 5 minutes, I'll play an air ride.
One more run.
The racing side of it was never really my jam. I did it, but mostly to unlock more stuff for the air ride, for the city ride stuff. Never played it multiplayer. However, this is clearly going to be online. This is clearly going to be. It looks like it's got more of like an open world. It looks like maybe the city. We might have more than the city, because it looks like there's a grassy sort of area. We don't know much, but we do know that Sakurai's back.
Directed by
the
man, the myth, the legend, Kirby's dad, Sakurai. We got it, man. That's
Kirby's
great.
Just so cool, isn't he? That whole trailer, I was like, he's just the guy, like the little pink fluff ball who shouldn't be the guy, but he is the guy.
He's just an eldritch horror, but like in the body of an adorable little sidekick. Like he's the best. Kirby's the best. Truly.
I'm so excited for this.
This rules. And
yeah.
I don't think there are many things that I would have thought were more hype than this, except for what they showed us next.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously that was all we got, right? It's a new Kirby Air Ride. It's made by by Sakurai, and that's enough. I don't need to know a single other sentence. Put it out. We're ready for it. Donkey Kong. This is something that we've been waiting for a long time, right? Like the rumor that that there was an internal team from Nintendo EAD that broke off to make Donkey Kong games. Like, we talked about that at Loot Pods, right? Like, that's an old story to the point where, like, I literally brought it up recently. We're like, I'm not even sure if that's real anymore. It's been so many years. Like, if we don't see something soon, then, like, maybe that was just a rumor and it didn't pan out. And it's real. It's real. It was all real. Here it is.
And it looks amazing.
It looks incredible.
It looks so good. The visuals look amazing.
Go ahead.
I was just say the visuals look amazing. The actual like the gameplay of just running around doing shit looks amazing. The level design, it looks like a 3D Mario game, like the quality of a 3D Mario, like Mario Odyssey,
right?
But with a character that can do more than Mario. He can, dig through the floor, climb up walls. It's got like Breath of the Wild, like scale to it from the looks of it.
And like destructibility that you were talking about, where it's like they were showing all these like crazy particles and everything.
Yeah, just rip through the floor, pick up bits of the world and throw it around. You've got the new DK design where he's got like the little overalls, he's got the trousers on.
He's so cute. I love the new DK. I really do.
He's like cute in like a fearsome way. Like he still looks like he could fuck you up.
Yeah, right. Like it's like there's like a softness to him, but he hasn't lost his edge, which I like.
Yeah. I like. There's a whole like new cast of like characters from the looks of it. Like the enemies look completely new. There's
these like stone. Like he looks like he has a sidekick that's like a gem of some kind with like little eyeballs and.
Yeah, the particle effects of just like I'm just rewatching the trailer now. When he smashes into something and it breaks into a load of parts, and it's like that's like PS5 stuff of like they really showed off the console by like everything has a particle effect. Returnal, every single thing has things floating off of it, and every single thing you break in this just shatters into pieces. It just looks cool, it just looks like a fun big adventure in reinventing Donkey Kong, because we've known Donkey Kong as he is for a long time now, just reinventing him and his style of games and what it means to be a Donkey Kong game.
These environments look so good too.
And I don't want to.
The lighting is really nice.
Do a comparison like this, I guess, but it reminds me of how they reinvented God of War for the PS4.
Sure.
Of how it's like this character enough to know the gist of it. Here's just a completely new style of game for a new modern audience, and I think this is that for Donkey Kong. They're like, it's a new IP with a familiar character, and I think it looks really good. And it's out soon. It's out in July. It's out before I turn 32.
I'm so excited, dude. Yeah, this looks so good. And just the scale of it is so interesting. Like, there's all these shots of him, like, running and climbing up these big mountains and, like, digging under the ground. And it's like, like, I don't know. Everything just looks so... It just looks like there's so much depth.
Yeah, and he's so expressive as he's doing it, and he can like really like it's like the Mario Odyssey style of like you can just run around jumping, but also you can roll and jump and throw your hat and flip, and there's a lot of like he rolls, he jumps, he then ground smashes, he punches through. There's just like lots to do and lots going on, and I can really imagine this being like just a big game, just like a large game with lots to do, loads of depth to it. I just think this looks so good. What a surprise.
There's a lot of like interesting stuff too, like where there's like a little like 2D section that looks like DK Country,
yes.
And then there's like the mine carts. I think it's interesting that they made like all the enemies look like they're like rocks, so that every time you crush one, they can show off how cool the particle physics are and how good they made things explode. And God, it just looks so good. Like this is like the most excited I've been for a new Nintendo game. I feel like since like like maybe even Breath of the Wild, because it's like even like Tears of the Kingdom, I was so hyped for that, but it was like, well, it's a sequel, right? Like it's like this is like it's new, it's a new thing, and granted, it's Donkey Kong, but it's like it's a new IP more or less, right? Like this is a whole new like era, and if this game is as good as it looks, and it could kick off a whole new franchise, and like it really looks like it has a totally different like play style and personality than like what we're used to from Mario or any of the other like 3D open world AAA Nintendo games. And I'm so stoked to finally see something and that it looks this good.
Yeah. I just I think if it wasn't for Metro Prime 4, this would be like my favorite like new Nintendo game looking in a while, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good way to end it as well. Just get like hyped for a new game that's coming out so soon, you know. One thing I would like, now we've sort of done with all the games, I would like to ask, because I've got one, if there were any big omissions for you, something that you think was missing that you thought was definitely going to show up. Yeah, what do you think?
Let me see. I'm gonna look at my predictions again. I think I was a little surprised to not see a Mario title, and I was a little surprised
that's one of them.
that of the third party stuff that there wasn't a Rockstar game as well. I figured we might see
GTA 5 would have been a big get.
Yeah, or Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Because like GTA 6 is coming. I think there's a non-zero chance that GTA 6 is on Switch 2. So like if that's the case, I could see them not wanting to bring 5 over or whatever. But like Red Dead, right? Like there's not another Red Dead around the corner. It's they just brought Red Dead 1 to Switch. It was something that, like, not to say that it won't happen, but it was something that I thought made so much sense that you would see it in this event, and that it would be featured in the same way that like Elden Ring was, of like here's us showing we're having AAA games, we're having Western publishers are going to be supporting it. Like I figured maybe you'd see that as well, but
it could be that Rockstar's just too busy working on GTA 6 to do something like that.
Yeah,
but I could also see that if GTA 6 was further along in its marketing and they were showing off trailers and they were showing things, we would have seen it here. But maybe this is now going to be when Rockstar are ready to show off GTA 6, they'll show this off.
Yeah, maybe that's why we're not seeing it either.
For me, other than a new 3D Mario game, all of these games getting new, Switch 2 enhanced versions, except Xenoblade Chronicles X, which just came out a week ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe just 2 weeks ago, and
it probably will get one though.
Oh yeah, but it's just like, why have you announced it now?
Why not with this game?
Yeah,
right?
Why not include it in the group? You've got these games that like Metro Prime. I guess all of them have new additions, or they are a game that hasn't come out yet, like Metro Prime
or Pokemon.
And
the ones that they did highlight of existing games are mostly older games that are big sellers.
Yeah, and they have new content to sort of justify that extra thing. But it's just weird that you wouldn't, because I've not been playing it because I'm like, oh, the Switch 2 is around the corner. They might say it's blah blah blah, so I'll just wait. But now I'm just like, well, I might as well play it at some point. But yeah, it is just odd. So that wasn't there for.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, what the cadence of those are going to be. Is this a thing that we're going to be hearing about Nintendo Switch editions, like, all the time, like, as they're getting rolled out? Like, is that going to be, like, a thing they use to, like, fill gaps in the release schedule? Or is this going to be, like, we're just going to get a big list of them, and, like, these are the ones that are coming, and look forward to them? Well, I mean, we have a lot of time to talk about it, right? Like, it's June 5th. Yeah. It's still quite a bit of ways away, and you got to imagine that they're going to probably have a lot of, like, this is day one, right? Like, they're probably going to have new information about this shit every single day.
We've got Treehouse
tomorrow and Friday.
We have directs coming up for, like, Mario Kart and things like that. There's going to be a lot to talk about, a lot to get excited for. But I think I am so excited about everything they showed. I'm just not so excited about the prices of things.
The price point of games is the one thing that is really like a sticking point for me, because I think the price of the console is fine. Like, would I like it to have been cheaper? Sure, right? But like $400 is reasonable. Or $450 rather is reasonable, right? Like I the other new consoles were $500 each. I don't think it, being $50 cheaper than the competition is still fine. It's not an aggressive price point, but I don't think it's a prohibitive one either, right? $80 a game is prohibitive. That is something that would dissuade people, I think, from trying new games that they're not sure of. Like, I think, and granted, maybe they don't care because it's like you're improving profitability of every copy sold, which is fine, fair enough. But yeah, I think that is the one sticking point for me here of just like, that feels bad. And I like I have like a group chat, right? That was like blowing up, had 200 messages during the course of the direct. And as I just left, when I come back, I imagine everybody will be like, what? $80? Like it's gonna be a sticking point. It's gonna be a thing that people are like greedy Nintendo. You know, it's like it's gonna
I
leave
left at a point
taste.
of positivity, and I think I'm going to come back to the same way that I'm feeling now. Of like, oh, like there had to be something, and it makes sense why they didn't mention this in the thing because it would have taken away from the isn't this exciting? Yeah,
Especially when we don't know that it's going to be consistent, right? Because it's like the idea that they're going to continue to explore the scale and that maybe like single player games will stay at $70 or something like that, because that seems to be what Donkey Kong costs, and because Mario Kart is multiplayer, and maybe they have like a plan to support it, and maybe like that's their solution is like, well, there will be free releases and we won't charge you for DLC, or you know, like we don't know, right? It's odd to me that it's just like, oh yeah, like games will cost what they cost is just kind of like the new party line. It seems like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a point where we can figure out how much a game will cost before they announce it, just based on what it is. But it's very interesting to me.
yeah. It's we're going to have to engage in some of this stuff, but it is going to put me off doing this stuff.
We'll see.
Oh, well.
We'll see. It's definitely not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? That part sucks. But I think, you know, aside from that, everything we saw here, you know, we both were really high on, and I'm definitely excited to get my hands on the thing in just 2 months, right? Like that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Despite
whether I buy one at launch is a question. I think Metroid Prime 4 is the game that I'm absolutely 100% going to buy it for, but Donkey Kong does look so good that it makes me like, oh, maybe I'll just wait until July. Then
I just
maybe
feel like there's so much.
As a little treat for myself.
There's so much here that we saw that it's like I don't think you're gonna be able to resist. I think it's gonna be similar to the Steam Deck situation of it all, where it's like okay, like my friends are playing it, and Metroid's out, and do I really want to wait to play the good version of it? And well, Donkey Kong will be out in July, and I want to play that, so why wouldn't I just buy it right now? You know, it's like I think it'll be so easy to talk yourself into it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Also, it sounds like you're already trying to talk me into it anyway, so that's going to be hard.
Yeah, bro.
To, just devils all around me. Devil's going, hey, buy it.
It's you have the devils on both shoulders, and it's just me in 2 different outfits.
Yeah, Inside you, there are 2 devils.
They're both Pete. I'm like, yeah, do it, and then the other one, yeah, do it. Oh man! All right, folks. Well, let us know. Are you still riding high? Are you excited? Has the $80 price point deflated you at all? I'm very interested to hear what everybody's thinking. We recorded this like right after the thing wrapped, so I've really not seen anybody's opinion except our own yet. So I'm excited to see what people are thinking. But I have to imagine people are going to be pretty focused on the price point of it all. So we shall see. But thank you guys for joining us here in another episode of Nintendo Noise. Remember, flipscreen.games, that's the website. If you want to go and support us, check out our sister shows, the Steam Deck Podcast and the Flipscreen Games Podcast. And, of course, a very special thank you to our Patreon producers for the month of April. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valenz, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Asobi, Project Julian, Steve Stompy, Susan Still Likes Cats, and also boobies, excuse me, That One Kid Nick, Ty the Dude, Voodoo Vic, and Waka Hula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. Y'all the real, still the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. Remember, if you want to let us know what you thought about this week's show, you can let us know in the comments down below. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to give this episode a like, share it with a friend, click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. If you're an audio listener, please take a second to leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the show get circulated. For the crew, I've been Pete, he's been Max. We'll see you next week. Actually, we'll see you tomorrow for the treehouse. Then, bye.